think for the first time in a long time, there was that sense of urgency. You could ask many around the camp and Gregg Berhalter himself, and he would have said, this isn't a revenge game. Dan, it wasn't about revenge. It was about making a statement, and that they did. The first time that we've seen Gregg Berhalter and his men actually look convincing. There were long stretches of this game where they allowed the opponent no possession, no time on the ball. They showed urgency. They showed creativity, especially in the flanks, which has been a staple of Gregg Berhalter. It really was convincing. My only worry is, for as convincing as it was, there's always that 15 to 25-minute stretch where they allow the opponent to gain confidence, to grow into the game. And against better opposition, the U.S. men's national team could face trouble.
Yeah, it was strange, wasn't it? First half, I felt they stuttered slightly, obviously got the goal, but you expected them to kick on. And as you say, there maybe was that little bit of complacency. It was only really in the second half that we saw them turn the screw. And of course, a big part of that was Christian Pulisic, who, let's face it, has been deserving of the criticism he's received when he's put on a US national team jersey of late.
Dan, you're absolutely right. And many people see Christian Pulisic. He's got the number 10 for the U.S. men's national team. He just had that big transfer to Chelsea, and they expect him to be superhuman at the CONCACAF level. Sometimes it's not that easy. Now, I don't want people to get crazy or upset, but Christian Pulisic at Dortmund was a very good role player. He wasn't the man. He wasn't expected to do things that people expect him to do here with the United States men's national team in CONCACAF play. There's even still trying to find a set position. He's a very good player 1v1. If you isolate him, he can create. He can create something out of nothing. But when you ask him to be cerebral in the center of the pitch, like a Landon Donovan was, that's not his game. People need to settle down and let him be himself. And when he's enjoying himself, he can cause a lot of trouble for the opponents. He can cause moments of magic like he did last night, and he was very effective.
Let's talk about the opponent. Xhaka is off today, thankfully, I'm sure, for him, because this, particularly in that second half, was really disappointing from a Trinidad and Tobago view.
Yeah, they actually looked gassed. They looked like they were didn't have the legs under them in the second half. And credit to the U.S. men's national team for putting them in that position and taking full advantage of that. Tyler Boyd, who's been a revelation for the U.S. men's national team since he started his Gold Cup play, he comes off. Jordan Morris comes on, who's been battling injury for the better part of a year and a half, and completely changed the game. A lot of that was just how active and how explosive he is, and just really being very direct in the opponent's defensive third. Caused all sorts of problems. Paul Arriola as well. He's been great this tournament. It really just overwhelmed this Trinidad and Tobago opposition.
Now, what does Berhalter do going into the clash against Panama on Wednesday? Because in theory, perfect opportunity, bring in some people who haven't had a chance. But also part of him must be thinking, finally, we've clicked. Finally, we've got something going. Do I want to interrupt that momentum?
I think you sort of have to. You don't get crazy and make a ton of changes, but you need to change it up. The fact that you play every 3 to 4 days, you have a game, it's going to cause some effect down the road. And you'd rather not disrupt, but change a little, allow some other players who maybe haven't played. I know people don't want to see him, but this is a perfect game for Omar Gonzalez. This is a perfect game for players like Josie Altidore to get some more fitness under his belt for the later stages. Panama's not going to be easy. But the U.S., make no bones about it, they should beat Panama even with the changes.